Hey everybody, Scotty G here with ListenUp. Today I have the pleasure of being with Costa Koulisakis. He's with the Sim Audio company, the manufacturers of the Moon line of products.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to be here again.
Yeah, it's great having you. Today we're going to do a breakdown on a real exciting new collection of products that Moon has put together. It's the North Collection. This collection features 6 new items, starting with a 681 Streamer DAC, the 641 Integrated Amplifier, the new 791 Network Preamplifier, which we match up with the 761 Amplifier, and then the flagship 891 Network Preamp, and the big boy 861 Amplifier. Okay, so Costa, this is the first big reinvent of the Moon product line, really since we've picked the line up. Tell us a little bit more about the North Collection and what went into making it happen.
Well, first thing about the North Collection is that it is definitely a departure design-wise and philosophy-wise from products that we've made in the past. Now, we don't change our models very often, as so many people know, and over the years we have amassed a great deal of new information, research and development that we've been doing in advancement of overall performance in both the digital world and the analog world. And when it came time to design new products, one of the first things we realized is that thanks to advancements in component design, thanks to advancements in our own research and development and what we've accomplished circuit-wise, it made a lot more sense for us to integrate a lot of these new technologies into one chassis because it can improve performance. And the end results are that with the current new models that we launched, they do in fact outperform their predecessors, older products that we've made. Even if the older products were separate components, in the listening room, they are surpassed by their North Collection replacements.
Alrighty, everybody. So, we went kind of briefly through the North Collection. I think now let's do a bit more of a deep dive on the 6 new pieces that make up this collection. Costa, let's start off with the 681. Tell me more about that piece.
Well, the 681 is the entry point, source-wise, into the North Collection. It is a streaming DAC, first and foremost. Replaces the older model, the 680D as it was called. And the 681 employs certain new technologies. In terms of what's built inside the 681, there is our network player hardware, what we call Mind 2. Mm-hmm. There is a high-performance DAC section and a high-performance analog output section. Power supply is our tried and proven MHP that we developed a few years ago. MHP stands for Moon Hybrid Power. It is a very low noise, highly efficient power supply design that we have developed several years ago and began using in a flagship DAC from a few years ago, and it's morphed and improved over the years, and the latest incarnation is found in the 681. The DAC architecture of the 681 is what we call MDE1, which stands for Moon DAC Engine 1. It employs ESS Tech chipsets in a unique configuration, and in the spirit and tradition of Moon DAC designs of the past, what we continue with the 681 is that we use multiple DAC outputs for each channel and average out that signal in order to obtain a more precise representation of the true signal, what it needs to be. And this gives you a more accurate sound at the same time. All of the clocking is done through field programmable gate array, FPGA, that we do in-house, and it has obviously its own firmware associated with it that can be updated in the field anytime by the user. Therefore, clocking errors or timing errors, or jitter as it's called technically, in the 681 is reduced down to the trillionth of a second, which is otherwise known as picosecond clocking. This gives you a very, very precise timing of the digital data stream, and in turn, in terms of what you hear in the listening room, it improves soundstage focus and just clarity of musical presentation. So those are some of the features of the 681. On the outside, the front panel display is the 4.3-inch graphic display that will show you album artwork as well as information about the track that's being played. The remote control is our exciting new BRM1 remote controller that comes with the 681. The 681 is a fully balanced DAC, so it is equipped with balanced digital inputs, balanced analog outputs. It is also fitted with a variable output that I spoke about earlier, what we call MHV. It is the first Moon streaming DAC ever of this type to have a volume control, and the benefit of that is it allows a user who only has digital sources to purchase a 681 without the need to purchase an analog preamplifier. Therefore, the 681 with its variable output section can drive a power amplifier directly. And the volume control system in the 681 is unique to the 681, developed specifically for that type of product, because as I said earlier, the 681 does not have an all analog preamplifier built in. Therefore, in order to provide you with a variable analog output signal, you need to have a very special analog stage designed that works in conjunction with the DAC's output to provide many different volume steps. And this is done in a proprietary, unique way that we call MHV, which stands for Moon Hybrid Volume. That's a little bit about the 681.
And that device, that output is switchable either for fixed or for variable?
Absolutely. The default section is fixed, but in the front panel menu, the user can go into the variable output, into the analog output, and configure it from fixed to variable.
And another feature that I think is really appropriate for more modern gear, these DACs and such, is now the addition of an HDMI audio return channel type of configuration?
Correct. One of the ports on the back of the 681 is an HDMI port that supports ARC, audio return channel, very practical. And yes, a user who wants to connect that to the HDMI port of their TV, for example, can do so.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a cool two-channel system with
absolutely.
a TV pipe to it.
Yep.
That's awesome. Alrighty, so, you know, I tell this story all the time. One of the first piece of Moon electronics I saw was a 700i. And over time, that just became one of my favorite pieces. Integrated Amplifier, became a 700i V2. I proudly own a 700i V2. In the North collection, what do we have for a standalone high-performance integrated amplifier?
There's one model, Scott, called the 641. That is the integrated amplifier in the North collection, and it replaces essentially both the 600i family and the 700i family. The 641 is rated at 125 watts per channel, hence just like the 600i V2 was. And but in terms of sonic performance, thanks largely to MDCA, Moon Distortion-Canceling Amplifier, the sonic performance scope of the 641 is pushed well beyond the 600i, and in fact is a lot more comparable to a 700i than anything else. It is rated at, as I said before, 125 watts per channel into 8 ohms, 250 watts per channel into 4 ohms. And much like the older models, the 641 is a fully balanced, all analog, purist design. There's no phono stage built in, there's no digital architecture in there of any kind. It is an analog integrated amplifier only, but it does boast North collection technologies such as the really nice graphic display, works with the BRM1 remote control that it comes with, and it is the perfect amplifier companion product for the 681 streaming DAC as well.
It's really one of those pieces you can buy and literally own forever.
Yes, absolutely.
Until you want to upgrade it. For the fun stuff, this is where things change a bunch. You know, gone is the 740p. In its place now, it really is the new 791 network streamer. That thing combines all kinds of technology into one box. Tell us a little bit more about that piece.
It's a technologically advanced piece of kit for sure. It comprises a full analog preamplifier top of the line DAC, our Mind 2 hardware also, and even a seriously good phono stage, all in one box. You can look at the 791 as sort of a replacement for the 780D version 2 DAC, which was our former flagship DAC, a replacement for the 740p preamplifier, which was our 700 level analog preamp from the previous generation. And in terms of the phono section, what's in the 791 is quality-wise superior to our award-winning 310 LP, not quite up to the level of a 610 LP, however. But the key thing about the 791 is that all of these technologies, without any sonic compromise, are integrated into one slim chassis. And when you sit down and you test drive a 791 in the listening room, for most people, it's a jaw-dropping experience. It's analog-wise, it's superior to the 740p. Even though it uses largely the same analog design, the volume control system is improved. We now call it MVol3. It has 140 discrete volume steps, and it is even more transparent sounding than the previous generation volume control system. The DAC architecture of the 791 is ahead of the previous flagship, which was the 780D version 2. We call the DAC architecture of the 791 MDE2, Moon DAC Engine 2. It uses, again, an ESS Tech chipset, and it averages out multiple DAC outputs for each channel to get a very precise signal. It is a fully balanced product circuit-wise, so you have AES EBU balanced inputs, a plethora of other digital inputs. There's an HDMI port, again, like in the 681, HDMI ARC. And there's both fixed outputs and variable outputs. It's user configurable that are both RCA and balanced outs at the same time. The phono stage is moving coil, moving magnet, fully configurable. You have front panel adjustments for gain, capacitance, resistive loading. You can even select the equalization curve. You can go RIAA or IEC. You know, if under certain conditions, the IEC curve may be the preferable one, obviously, as it has a built-in rumble filter, which can reduce a little bit of record warp and what that does, obviously, to a system. So yeah, the 791 is the sweet spot, middle of the road between the 600 level and the flagship 800 level product in the North Collection. The streaming module is Mind 2, just like what's in the 681, the same thing. 4.3-inch front panel graphic display, BRM1 remote control as well. All the goodies are there, and as I said, it is the sweet spot model.
Yeah, man, the Mind 2, that's tried and true technology there for sure. You know, for a turntable guy like me, if I bought a 791, I could still connect like a 610 LP to it?
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Absolutely you can.
All right, so I want to add an amp to the 791. You know, the 761 seemed to be the natural pairing for that. What do you think?
It is the perfect fit. It doesn't need to be a 761. Of course, if a customer wants more power and they have a craving for the 861, you could certainly pair a 791 with an 861. But the 761 is the ideal pairing in terms of the physical form factor, the price range as well. What the 761 is as a power amplifier is rated at 200 watts per channel RMS into 8 ohms, 400 watts into 4 ohms, and as a monoblock, it'll put out 600 watts into 8 ohms. It is an MDCA amplifier, a Moon Distortion-Canceling Amplifier, which means that, as I said earlier, MDCA works by applying signal correction outside of the signal path, which is a very important benefit. And this is done, again, in such a way that it is not a feedback of any kind, and you reduce distortion considerably further than what the older models were capable of. And the product just produces a very dynamic, open, true-to-life sound. It is a heavyweight amplifier weighing in at approximately 60 pounds. Form factor is relatively compact for its power output, but it does share the same footprint as a 791, and therefore the two products could be stacked with the bridges that we will be developing in the future for these for North Collection.
Yeah, the Moon bridges have been a cool addition. Allowing you to take well, in this case, just if you had like a 610 LP 791, that'll work as well. Yeah, man, that's so awesome. All right, now we get to talk about the stuff I've been waiting almost a year to see. Let's talk about the 891.
The 891 is a product that we are especially proud of because it is the top of the line in its genre. It is a network player preamp or streaming preamplifier, if you will, in the 800 level range. What's in the 891 is amongst the finest that we have ever designed. The DAC section, for example, is by a runaway margin the finest DAC we have ever designed. It is also the first 800 level DAC that we have ever developed at Moon. And its architecture is known as MDE3. And it uses, again, just like the 791 and the 681, multiple DAC outputs that are averaged out, except the count on the 891 is twice the count of the 791 and 761. Wow. To be more precise, the 791 and 681 have a total of 8 DAC analog outputs that are averaged out. The 891 uses 16. Again, the more DAC outputs that you average out, the more precise the signal will be, because what happens is each DAC's contribution to the analog signal is only 1/8 instead of 1/4, like in the 791, for example. So you get a more precise output signal. So that's part of what's going on in the 891 as far as its DAC architecture is concerned. There's FPGA reclocking again throughout, just like in the smaller models. However, the precision with which the clocking is handled is even higher in the 891. It's in the quadrillionth of a second range, which is the femtosecond range. It's absolutely ultra precise. Again, contributes to an even finer, more precise, tightly focused soundstage than even over the other models. The analog section of the 891 is over the top. It uses a technology that we call MDB, which stands for Moon Damping Bass, and this is a mechanical approach to decoupling the entire analog board, including the phono section, from the chassis. What the 891 has is a subframe on which the entire analog board, which is quite a large circuit board, is attached to, which includes its own recessed back panel that is decoupled from the back panel, or in other words, the external chassis. And what this does is vibration, external vibration, will not make it to the delicate analog circuitry, which in turn reduces the microphonic effect. Microphonics add distortion by adding harmonics that are not present in the actual signal. And by reducing that, you get a more precise, more true to life and accurate analog signal at the output. The sonic characteristics of the 891 are one of, the way it's been described to us, is extreme clarity and transparency, above and beyond anyone's expectation. So that's a little bit about what's going on in the 891. It does have an MHP power supply. It is fully balanced, of course. There's an ASEBU digital input, a plethora of other digital inputs. Fully balanced analog outputs in both XLR or balanced and RCA format. The 891, if somebody wanted to use it as a DAC only with fixed outputs, like the 791, can be configured that way for fixed outputs if you wish, depending on the nature of the rest of the system and the goals that the user has. It could be done, it could be used that way too. It's all done through the front panel user interface, through the menu system. The display on the 891 is a 5-inch graphic display, so a little bit larger than the smaller models because the chassis is also larger. The remote control is the BRM1 as well. And I also like to add, the 891, the 791, and the 681 are all also Roon-ready devices. Oh, cool. So in terms of streaming, if somebody has a Roon account and they like to use the Roon app, of course they can do that as well. We do have our own app for iOS and Android, which is very fast, sleek, and works extremely well. But some people want the extra rich metadata experience of Roon. Absolutely no problem. Our products are also Roon-ready.
That's great. Yeah, we right out of the box, I thought, as much as I've been impressed with the performance of the 791. I felt the 891 right out of the box just was a whole different world of resolution.
Yeah, what you don't hear with the 791, you will hear with the 891. It's just when you listen to the two side by side. Again, when you hear the 791 for the first time, you'll find nothing missing. It just sounds absolutely wonderful. But the 891 just kicks it up an extra level. I also forgot to mention one of the most important design elements of the 891 is its volume control. We call it M-Ray 2. And it's called M-Ray 2 because it is a parallel approach to the flagship preamps, the 850p's volume control, which we call M-Ray. M-Ray 2 gives you volume steps in user selectable 0.5 dB or 0.1 dB for a maximum of 640 independent volume steps. Over the top precision. In terms of transparency, it is amongst the most transparent volume controls. It is the most transparent volume control technology we have ever designed, and it pushes the sonic envelope of the 891 even higher than one might actually think.
So for some of our clients that have an 850p and they've been running a 780D as that reference stream or DAC, we could take that 780D out and use the 891 now as the replacement to that DAC streamer.
If you wish, an 891, its DAC is substantially more advanced than the 780D version 2. So if one wanted to purchase the 891 and use its state-of-the-art DAC into an 850p, absolutely you can.
Wow, that's just awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, that's great. All righty. So being a guy that's been in this business forever, it seems, just nothing seems to beat these big monster amplifiers. And this guy, I want one for Christmas. Tell me about the 861.
Well, the 861 is the absolute finest stereo amplifier we have ever made. Short of the 888 monoblocks, and when I'm talking about stereo single chassis amplifiers, this is the runaway winner. It is an extraordinary amplifier design. It is the pinnacle of all of our amplifier technologies put into one box. It is a large and heavy amplifier weighing in at about 125 pounds. Its power output is 300 watts per channel into 8 ohms, 600 watts into 4 ohms, and in monaural mode, 800 watts into 8 ohms. So a tremendous amount of power, fully dual mono, balanced as well, and it of course uses our MDCA technology, which issues all forms of feedback circuitry, and it does real-time signal correction outside of the signal path to reduce distortion to vanishingly low levels. In the tradition of Moon amplifiers, and its smaller sibling, the 761, is no exception to this. It runs remarkably cool even when you drive it quite hard. This amplifier shows no sign of strain whatsoever. Even the most complex speaker loads don't really present any difficulty whatsoever for the 861. It's an amplifier that we are extraordinarily proud of.
Yeah, I'm proud of it too. We pulled this thing out. It comes in an anvil case, like a flight case. We pulled it out today, set it up, and it's just a beautiful amplifier. Sounds awesome. Great control. We were running on these speakers earlier today. Man, was it 40 years in business? It's like the accumulation of 40 years of engineering in one prize package.
Yeah, and to exemplify its North Collection status even further, the LED that you see here across the top, which is also part of the North Collection logo, this is the power LED and the status LED, replaces the bright blue LED that was on the front panel of the older models, because although the old bright blue LED was certainly very functional. Again, we've been listening to our customers, and a number of them have told us that they found that old LED quite bright. There's obviously no way to dim it, but with this one, with North Collection, this LED could be dimmed through our proprietary Moonlink connection and one of our streaming preamplifiers, for example, or the 681. You can actually reduce the intensity of that LED if you wish.
Yeah, I did find myself kind of being hypnotized by that blue light. So as insignificant as a light may seem, I think this is a wonderful, well thought out addition.
Thank you. This is a soft blue also, so and because it's looking outwards, it's not necessarily looking at you right in the eye. It's much easier on the eyes than the blue LED used to be.
And this LED light does give you some other indicating, some other features. Does it change colors or anything?
Yes, depending on the status of the amplifier, it can change color as well. Absolutely.
That's always helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
I want one. Well, certainly the North Collection is everything that the anticipation was well deserved. Absolutely quite awesome. Costa, I want to thank you so much for coming down to the Great White North to visit us, kind of coach us up on all these products. If you guys have any interest in the product line, please visit our website. The whole North Collection is featured there. We have it on display in our stores. Costa, again, it means the world that you've been here. Thank you.
It's always a great and exciting opportunity for me to come here and share all this exciting new information with everyone here at ListenUp. And thank you, Scott, for giving me the chance to do that.
Well, thanks, man. We have a lot more exciting content coming your way. So be sure to like and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Sign up for our emails. We do all kinds of clinics, classes, shows, events. Get involved, man. Have fun. Scotty G signing off.
Thank you.